to the issues that hit close to home. And speaking of conversations, we took to the streets to ask a big question. Are women truly supporting women? You've heard the phrase, women supporting women, but what does that really look like in everyday life? Are we lifting each other up or just saying the right words? We'll hear what people have to say. So buckle up, it's going to be an insightful and unfiltered discussion, and then we're going to look up at the time and find out that we did not have enough time for all the stories we wanted to get to. We'll say that now. This is Jasiri, welcome! Blessings, apologize. Blessings shaded me.
It's true.
She actually said with all due respect.
I started with all due respect.
Can you imagine?
And
it's when they start with all due respect that there was actually no respect.
But did I lie? Lolo, did I lie?
Even though
did I lie?
But we cannot repeat it outside.
Even though I agreed.
There are many things we agree we shade Tolu by that are so true, but we cannot repeat it before our audience.
I just wanted you people to know, Blessing shaded me this morning. In front of Lolo, in front of Beauty,
sorry, not sorry,
in front of
Please, let everybody calm down. Let everyone calm down.
What's this?
Hands down, please.
You guys are going to see a lot of Lolo doing this on this show to do it so they can come to you and not me.
I just don't want everybody to be all over the place. Sometimes you have to just be demure. Like,
is Amaricha Abi?
Amaria. I want to say thank you to my dear Tolu. She did this to me. And this is one of the best I've ever had. I'm so high right now.
I'm jealous of you. I can't do it.
No, you're too pretty on the face to be pretty on the hand again. Don't be all over.
They won't even allow me.
Wow.
Who is the... See how you're pointing. But do you see my feet? Do you see my hand?
Yeah, but I'm like on the news. So
you are Gen Z.
Anyways. So it's been a while, a hot minute, before we get to hot topic, it's been a hot minute that I asked the table a question. So I want to ask a question, backing off what Tolu said earlier. Ladies, do you believe that women actually support women? Or are we is it just a mantra?
So let me tell you. No, the silence are I actually think I have a twofold answer to this. One, I think it's 50-50. We're humans. We're going to support who we're going to support. And I also think that, unfortunately, we put too much pressure on women, even with that statement. Because people make it seem like you have to support women regardless.
Regardless, yeah.
Whether if the woman is not the right candidate or is not the best candidate, then no. If the woman is an equal candidate, and I can see equality and the two of them match, in that situation, I'll likely pick the woman because I know that it's most likely somebody else. But if she's not up to standard, why would I? No. So I think it's 50-50. I've been absolutely supported in my career and in my personal life by amazing women left and right. But I also don't think it's a pressure, it's a burden we need to put on women that they have to support women irregardless, irrespective.
So I think for me, I do agree it's 50-50. And I think that when people say that word, women supporting women, what they mean is women not bashing women most of the time. So I think that most times the context that I understand it with is you're maybe in a company and then they're asking other women if you, and yes, I mean, Tolu is absolutely right. If you do not qualify, I will not say because you're a woman, I'll put you in that position. But several times we've seen, I've been very blessed and lucky to have women support me, but I've also been on the other side of it. I've seen a woman showing me shake a bazaar.
Well, for me, we have to toe the same lines sometimes, but there are some jaded lines with me, like my friends. I will not publicly unsupport you.
That's a like point.
There are some places that make me jaded, like maybe my bosom friends, and I know that maybe you do something out of turn, but you haven't really told me why. So instead, I might not blatantly say, no, I'm against you. I'll just be like, demure.
And wait it out. And wait it out.
And when we just close it up, show ya with it. That's
the point.
Then I'll be able to quickly get into the context. But averagely, I think it's burdensome on women when everybody just places that onus on you. You have to. Sometimes it's a human question for me. I like to look at people first based on their capabilities. It's not about their agenda or anything. So if you're a good human in any situation, I'll look at that. So it's not really about you being a woman. And these days, I'm beginning to see that even some women are really evil. And they do dastardly things to men behind closed doors, and sometimes they lie. So these days, if any woman is saying something, I like to fact check to be sure that you are not just witch hunting somebody or just wanting to get into the news. Because I'm seeing another indices, another crop of women who that is their stock in trade. Anybody antagonize. A friend told me a story of one of their managers in their very big office, multinational. They said this lady had been coming, trying to get in with one of their managers, and the man probably keeps bluffing her. They said one day she would come in the morning and try to, maybe, I don't know what. They said she tore her own clothes in his office and ran out into the corridor crying that the man tried to assault her. She escaped. Thank God that the man had a CCTV in his office. And that was his saving grace.
And this point that you land on is something we're going to take up next week. I know that the Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan story is a massive one. At the bottom of it is her allegations of sexual harassment, but there has to be a wider conversation. And so next week we're going to be speaking to a lawyer about the sexual harassment landscape in Nigeria. What does the law say? Where is the burden of proof? Does a previous relationship lead to certain assumptions? And right now we've been talking about it in my WhatsApp. So there's actually the fact that some kind of a previous relationship in between you can come up in court in terms of how it was sexual harassment or how it isn't sexual harassment. There's a lot, and I think a lot of us don't know a lot. How much power does the police have to investigate? ICPC, remember that there was a case, I said this I think about last week, they got involved in a case that they heard about on social media that involved levels of sexual harassment, but they have not gotten involved in the case involving the senator. So there's all this conversation, and it's beyond Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan. It also has to do with the legal landscape around sexual harassment in Nigeria, and we're going to be having that conversation. I have some great conversations for you guys next week. We're going to be having that
Every time she
conversation
does that screaming, Tolu is living in her head.
I have plans.
And I think regarding this sexual assault, chief of it for me is how do you prove it? Because I think that
becomes
that's like
so much
the major.
she versus he.
Exactly.
He said, she said.
Exactly. But anyways, we'll continue that, and of course, like Tolu said, we have very interesting conversations for you next week. But we're still dwelling in this week, even though mentally I'm already.
You're done.
I'm done. I'm done with the week. It's Saturday for
No,
me
it's not
already.
like you have a great plan for your weekend. So
It's not an action.
like being done cannot just be like done. It's just done to go home.
Just do like,
At this point, just say like this.
Good. Just stay like that. Anyways, I asked the question about women supporting women, and we did take the conversation or the questions to the streets, and this is what people had to say.
Okay.
I feel it's better than the environment we used to have. We see women trying to cover up for themselves, like they see you in the bus, you are stained and they're calling your attention. You are not closing up and somebody is tapping you. So a lot of things happening now. We see women standing, supporting each other to get better every day.
When I was in school, I had a friend and I expected her to help me submit my assignments because I needed to attend to some other things. And she actually took the assignment, but she failed to drop it and submit it. So I just felt very bad about the whole stuff.
They are not always supporting each other. They are always gossiping. Even if it is about men or anything, they will always gossip about themselves, about men or women, both genders. But women, they do not support.
Actually, I don't necessarily think it's so true, right? Because just like the way it is like with different humans or different people, like people are in like different levels, age range, right? Different age range, and like, they are in different career brackets, right? So I think if it's like peer-to-peer, I don't think there is that so much competition of women wanting to go ahead. I think this is even probably more in men, of like wanting to be far ahead and far ahead. So I don't think the society creates that competition. But I think recently there've been a lot of women that are in like top positions in banks, leading companies, and I think instead of competition for the younger generation, for example, like I spoke about the career bracket, instead it is giving like younger women an opportunity to think or dream more, so not necessarily competition in that way. I mean, I'm not female, right, so I probably don't know what's happening peer-to-peer so much, but I think now that there's more women in leadership positions, like, Ikeja Electric and much of the bank CEOs are now females, there's just inspiration. I feel that's what it should be for like younger women to, go higher. So that's my opinion.
It was in the bus. The conductor, I entered the bus. The conductor was supposed to give me, I think 300 naira change. So it was like, he doesn't want to give me. So like, he does not have change. And I've already told him I'm going to pay 200, which he accepted. But immediately he saw crowd. He was like, no, you cannot take 200. You know their ways now. So I was like, but you accepted 200. So he doesn't want to give my change completely. Luckily, the woman that entered before me, she paid same amount, but she gave change, while I gave 500. So it was woman that now said, in fact, I was speechless. I could not say anything. So it was woman that was making that you have to give her a change. Other people now supported. In fact, I was speechless. I didn't say anything. So out of annoyance, he gave me the change. Out of annoyance, which I collected my change.
Actually, Senator Natasha, she's the only one that can say what transpired. It is a personal encounter. So I cannot condemn her. And at the same time, I don't know what to say. She is the one that actually knows what happened. And for God's sake, if for her to come out publicly to make that kind of claim, I am sure she has evidence to back it up. But if not, I don't know why she will come out like that. The Senate President is a very important personality in Nigeria. You cannot just come and deform his his name or character or whatever. But before she could make that kind of claim, I'm sure she has an evidence to show.
I saw the news, right, about, say, there were like 100 groups of women are like, apologizing to the Senate President. Well, I feel like this is Nigeria and they do a lot of stunts, right? So it could just be they gave the women leader money and then they just publicize something. It's not like we saw these women come out, we saw them speak to the public and speak against, the female senator, right?
Okay, I think that's just a normal trend for women folk. They prefer to castigate their fellow women. I don't know whether it's because of jealousy or maybe the person has more than them. I can't really place, but I just know that is the usual trend in society. So I feel the major thing is standing on what is right. If a woman is doing something that is bad, come out to say, okay, this man is doing something that is bad. And if it's a man, come out to say, don't say because the person is a woman, let me just put her down.
So it could just be a stunt. So it may not necessarily be like women, because on my own personal page, women that I know on my status are condemning what, the Senate President had done. So, and I don't think, there's now like some group of women somewhere who probably they gave them money. Probably that's why they would do that. I'm not sure, any woman in like their perfect right mind, would be going against what the female senator has experienced, as in like even up to like the suspension. So that's what I think.
I don't have much to say because I heard the gist, I don't really know much about the gist. But I just feel like women need to be heard and seen more. Like, people just need to stop being judgmental and place woman. When a woman speaks, they should listen to her too. Not like everybody wants the man to always win. And even in the Senate, how many women are there? So she won't even be comfortable because they are not much. They will win over her. So I just feel everybody just being sentimental with the whole thing. That's just it.
Maybe when you consider motherhood, a woman is expected to sacrifice a lot of things, her career, her job, her mental well-being for the progress of her family. So I think, yes, women folk, they have more pressure on them than the men.
Wow, you heard them. A lot of them are very interesting stand. I like that guy particularly. He had like a balanced overview, and I like the fact that everybody just, said their truth, and it's all right.
And I think it's a conversation we'll continue to have as a society. One final point I want to make on this is oftentimes we expect women to be perfect almost, especially in public light. We expect them to have this, they're better than men, so they shouldn't fall for all these human frailties and weaknesses. They shouldn't be caught up in scandals. And that in itself is already an unnecessary burden on women in the public light. We're not any worse or better than men. Women steal, men steal. Men harass, and yes, women harass as well. So at the end, they don't look at it as when a woman gets into this position in life that she has to be perfect in every single thing she says, every single thing she does, because that is also an unnecessary burden and then women are the first ones, you said it, Blessings, to castigate and to judge. We need to give ourselves a break.
Right. And I think that, I'm sorry, that sometimes women are naturally inclined to. Someone made an example of sanitary towels. If a woman comes to ask me, even if I don't know you, I feel like I owe you the responsibility of finding it for you.
Anyway, even though I feel I'm channeling Senator this morning, somehow, I don't know.
Just raise your hands a little bit more.
I just want to know, maybe I might have a position, in the next election. Who knows? Anyway, it's time for a break, ladies. And when we get back, we've got the latest on Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan's controversy after she took the sexual harassment case to Inter-Parliamentary Union in New York. Also, Nigeria's House of Representatives orders NCC to shut down porn sites nationwide. Wow. We'll take a break. We'll be right back.
I was wondering why I was sweating. I didn't know it was time for hot topics. Anyways, in the light of women supporting women, I want to support a woman sitting by my right who's been making desperate effort for her hands to be noticed. Your henna looks nice.
Oh, thank you so much for this wonderful compliment you paid me. I appreciate it.
Oh my God.
Okay, now let's get into it.
I love it.
The Nigerian Senate has formally responded to the Inter-Parliamentary Union regarding the suspension of Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan. The Senate has clarified that the decision was based on gross misconduct and repeated violations of parliamentary rules, rather than her sexual harassment allegations against Senate President Godswill Akpabio. During Thursday's plenary, Senate Leader Opeyemi Bamidele raised a motion of urgent national importance, calling for a resolution to the matter. Now, citing orders 41 and 51 of the Senate rulebook, Bamidele stressed the need to put the controversy to rest, saying that the lingering issue, which stemmed from Akpoti-Uduaghan's claims and subsequent suspension, continues to distract the Senate from its constitutional duties. Let's hear him.
One, that the issue that she raised was outside of the agenda of the meeting. Number two, having heard her, it will also be important to listen to the other side because they are all guided by rules. And also, let me emphasize that Section 1, Sub 1 of the law establishing the Inter-Parliamentary Union itself makes it clear that membership of IPU shall be on the basis of national parliamentary organization. In other words, there are no individual members. It is parliaments of sovereign nations that are members of IPU.
Now, the Senate President, Godswill Akpabio, also had a few comments to make regarding the situation. He spoke about Senator Akpoti-Uduaghan's statement at the IPU and more. Let's hear what he had to say.
It's also important for the public to know that whatever decision we arrive at here is unanimous. And I recall the last decision we took, and which concerned one of our sisters here, the senior Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan. I'm also aware that when she left the chambers, she went to Brekete Radio, and she went to Arise Television, and she distorted the facts. I'm aware further that she has now externalized the matter by attempting to embarrass the Federal Republic of Nigeria by going to give a narrative at the IPU UN event, totally different from what occurred in the Senate. But I want to thank our Right Honorable Member Kafilat, right? That's her name. Kafilat Okwara, who had to give a press conference in New York to caution the international press not to vilify Nigeria but to note that the facts presented by her were totally out of tune with what occurred in the Nigerian parliament, and that we have our own internal mechanisms of resolving issues in Nigeria. And outside this parliament, we also have the judiciary, which is even standing before the judiciary. I don't want to be misquoted, but the reality is that we remain resolute, we are law-abiding, we operate through the rules of the Senate, which is an extension of the powers and privileges given to us by the ground norm, the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. We still are open to making sure that we remain in peace, and we left room for her to recognize that what she's doing may even...
So that's the Senate President speaking yesterday. Now let's take you back to earlier this week when Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan took her case to the Inter-Parliamentary Union, which is an arm of the United Nations. Addressing the Assembly on Tuesday, she reported that following her submission of a petition alleging sexual harassment by Akpabio, she was suspended from the Nigerian Senate for 6 months starting March 6, 2025. She described the suspension as illegal and part of a broader issue concerning the exclusion of women from political leadership in Nigeria. She characterized these actions as political victimization and a punishment for speaking out against impunity, corruption, and gender-based violence. Here's what she said.
I come with a heavy heart from Nigeria, but first I'd like to apologize to Honorable Kafila Ogbara. I am not here to bring shame to our country. I'm here to seek help for the women of Nigeria. Again, my name is Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan. 5 days ago, on the 6th of March 2025, I was suspended. As a senator, I was suspended illegally because I submitted a petition of sexual harassment against the President of the Nigerian Senate, Senator Godswill Akpabio. I thought that by submitting the petition, he would recuse himself, and both of us will submit ourselves to the Committee on Ethics, Privileges, and Public Petition for a fair and transparent investigation. But unfortunately, I was silenced and I was suspended. This is a bigger picture. It depicts the crisis of women political representation. My suspension is not just about me. It's about the systemic exclusion of women from political leadership in Nigeria. Women make up 3.6% of political offices, and in the Senate it's just 2.8. We have 109 men and only 4 of us are women. So right now it's 108 with only 3 women. This is a clear case of political victimization, punishment for speaking out against impunity, corruption, and gender-based violence. The Senate's actions are an assault on democracy. I was elected by my constituents to represent them, yet a few powerful men have unilaterally decided to silence their voices by suspending me for 6 months. My call for an open and transparent investigation into harassment allegations have been met with hostility instead of accountability. If a female senator can be treated this way in the full view of the world, imagine what ordinary Nigerian women will go through every day in workplaces, in universities, and other aspects of our society. A culture of harassment and silencing must end. And this is not just a Nigerian issue. It is a global one. Women in politics, media, and businesses face threats, intimidation, and violence for simply demanding fairness. From sex for grades scandals in universities to harassment in workplaces and political spaces, Nigerian women have constantly been forced into silence.
Her appeal to the IPU seeks intervention from international democratic institutions regarding a suspension and the allegations against Akpabio. And here's what the IPU had to say.
Our colleague from Nigeria, Senator Natasha, and because all of us heard what she said, and it only serves us better if I put a word in what she has said. So I would like to say we have heard her concerns, and having heard her, it would have been an opportunity for all of us to understand more about what she has said. But because we listened only on her side, as an institution, as IPU, we will be taking the concerns that have been raised, not only taking her side, but also giving a chance to listen to the other side, as it is a custom for IPU.
And after Senator Akpoti-Uduaghan spoke to the IPU, Kapilat Ogbara, the House of Representatives Chairman, House Committee on Women Affairs and Social Development, also made a statement. She explained that Senator Akpoti-Uduaghan repeatedly disrupted Senate proceedings, refused to sit in a designated seat despite multiple warnings, and made remarks deemed disrespectful towards the Senate leadership. These actions, according to the Senate, violated the standing orders and warranted disciplinary action to preserve order and maintain institutional integrity. Let's hear what she said.
Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan was suspended for gross misconduct and unruly behavior, and not as a result of allegation of sexual harassment or assault. The authority of the Senate of the Federal Republic of Nigeria firmly rebukes the deliberate misinformation and false narratives being circulated by certain media organizations regarding the six-month suspension of Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan.
This development has sparked widespread debates in Nigeria, with discussions focusing on the fairness of the disciplinary action and the broader implications for women's participation in politics. Now, while rare in Nigeria's parliament, that is the National Assembly, this is not the first time a case involving sexual assault has emerged within its ranks. In 2016, Senator Dino Melaye was accused of threatening to sexually assault Senator Remi Tinubu, who is now the First Lady of Nigeria. He wasn't charged, but there are a number of reactions to this situation. Time is also not with us, so let's take a few reactions, and then when we come back, we will talk about this. What are the reactions saying to the latest? She's a disgrace. What happened to follow the rule of law? So she's trying to teach the SP, that Senate President, a lesson. These people with so much emotional baggage deserve no place in leadership. 3 of her heads will be thrown out if it takes that to survive. All we're asking for is an independent investigation into sexual harassment, and Akpabio must not be the judge in his own case. Natasha is a fighter, God bless her. If she doesn't have her evidence, she wouldn't go this far. Remember, this is not the first time Akpabio is being accused of sexual harassment. Natasha is a fighter, and I give it to her, a strong role model for many young Nigerian women. We honestly can't have a Senate with 105 men and only 3 women. It doesn't represent our nation at all. We aren't buying your crocodile tears. Bring evidence. Let us see. Tagging Senator Akpabio as well. The lady is ridiculing the nation everywhere. Sexual harassment in the presence of your husband. Did the accused touch you in the presence of your husband? The accuser must prove with substantial facts, not mere conjecture. I like her. She's digging her grave very deep. Continue, fine girl. Your emotional blackmail no go work for Switzerland. This is the highest level of manipulation. Was the suspension about sexual harassment or misconduct at the Senate House? You disrespect over 100 senators. They ask for a common apology. You say no. And finally, she was barred from parading herself as a senator of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. It's time we make her ban indefinite. So these are some of the responses. We'll get into our thoughts on everything that has played out regarding this situation, but that will be after the break. Stay with us.
Thank you very much for staying with us. You're still watching Jasiri, and of course, you know we're represented across all our social medias at News Central TV. We're discussing the Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan, Senator Akpoti-Uduaghan, and Senate President Akpabio's matter. You know, it has spanned beyond the Nigerian walls. Yeah. It has gone to the IPU. You've heard what they said. You've heard what another representative from Nigeria said. And of course, you've heard what she said.
Yeah. I've seen this carried by international press now. It's just, and one of the things for me is, in the statement that the Senate President made, he said that she's embarrassing Nigeria, or basically alluding to the fact that she's dragging Nigeria. She's not embarrassing Nigeria. Nigeria was not named in the petition. Nigeria is not named in the court's order, in the court's case or the court's processes that are in play now. It's you. Exactly. She called your name, Senator Godswill Akpabio. She did not call Nigeria. And I don't like the fact that they're attempting to conflate this, her allegations of sexual harassment, with her attempt, with a supposed attempt to embarrass the country. She's not trying to embarrass the country. So let's please separate that. Senator Akpabio, you are not Nigeria. You're a representative of Nigeria, just as she is a representative of Nigeria. She's calling you. She's dragging you. She's not dragging Nigeria. Nigeria has been embarrassed before on a number of other things. This is not it. And if you're aware that you feel Nigeria has been embarrassed, then you would have been very sensitive. You would have been very sensitive in your handling of this situation. And then, I'm so sorry, because he also mentioned that the decision that they took was anonymous. Ladies and gentlemen, are we so actually sure that it was actually anonymous? And the reason I'm asking you that question is that this morning, Premium Times has a report in which one or two lawmakers who chose to be anonymous to Premium Times said that they objected to using their signatures when it came to signing the recommendations of the Senate committee that sat on the issue, on the disciplinary action against Senator Akpoti-Uduaghan, and that in fact it was their attendance signatures that were brought together to make it look like it was a unanimous decision from the committee. That's a update coming in. And one of the senators, two senators from the Northwest geopolitical zone, one from the Northeast and another from the North Central, and they're arguing that their signatures were misused because they did not explicitly consent to the report's recommendations. That in fact, the report should have been completely finalized among the committee before it was presented on the floor.
Is this not Nigeria? Is this not Nigeria? I know that this matter has become a bit like murky waters. Yes. That everybody putting their feet in has become muddied. And I know we might not look at the big picture, but look at this in another 5-6 years. We are going to make it more difficult for women to find representation and find a voice. If only 4 are in the Senate and 1 is on our way out, that means only 3 women. How can you say that is balanced in any way? And we are letting this stand. Now they are lumping all the issues together. But this is what we expected them to do in the first place. Separate the issues and deal with them by law. I am not for either she's right or she's wrong. Yeah. I'm neither for the Senate President. I just want everything separated and dealt with. First, I will take the issue of the disciplinary committee sitting and making recommendation when there was an injunction from the court. The injunction means halt proceedings. Do not do anything. Let everybody maintain the status quo until this matter is decided. But they still went ahead and sat anyway. Would anybody please explain to me? Maybe I'm no longer in consonant, I'm no longer versed with the law. Maybe I'm wrong to assume that. So no, then the second issue is the matter of the allegation of sexual assault. 2 separate things. If this is why they suspended her, is there no illegality on this? Because there is an injunction saying this Senate committee cannot sit on this issue until this matter is decided on in court and is lifted. They can now sit, she can sit down and be questioned, but that didn't happen. It didn't. So I'm not just making you know, allegations in my head. These are two separate allegations that don't need to be lumped together.
Yeah.
The sexual assault matter, separate. The gross misconduct matter, separate.
And this is why I remember when we started this conversation, I was heavily pissed at the fact that it felt like she just gave them
ammunition.
Yes,
yes, you said so.
Whatever happened after then, it was like, even if you said this, but you did this, but you did this. And now it's like, I said it before, Aisha Yusuf said something that in Nigeria, we major on the minor, right? So you are carrying you drop the heavier allegation and then you just hold on to, and for the Senate President to be saying things like, oh, she's selling a false narrative, you have no right to say that because it hasn't been investigated. She claims she has her evidence. You have not sat down to question her, to question him, and then everybody is claiming that she has a false narrative, but her own claims are disregarded.
Why not present the evidence to?
Exactly. So sit down, have the investigation, find out who is wrong or right, and Bob's your uncle.
Because even with everybody, you saw the comments again as people saying, oh, it's mere conjecture that she needs to present evidence. Who is she meant to present the evidence to? Blessings is asking a very valid question. You cannot claim it to be a false narrative when it has not been adjudicated. It has not been sat on. A resolution or a decision has not been reached. And that's an unfair situation. There's also comments he made as well when he was speaking yesterday. And he said that what she's doing may frighten politicians from appointing female deputy governors or giving them political positions. In this 10th Assembly, there are only 4 women and they are all committee chairmen intentionally to give women a voice. And when you start saying that her actions will stop other people from wanting to work with women, you actually don't know that you are actually proving a point in which that when women speak out, there are punishments, there are consequences for them or for other women. If you're not doing anything wrong, if you're not sexually assaulting, if you're not sexually harassing, what is the issue with working with a woman? Too many people say things like, oh, I'm afraid to even make a joke now. We don't know how you people are going to take it. But the jokes you were making before were quite inappropriate.
Yes.
So if you yourself recognize that, oh, if I make this joke now, maybe it won't land well, then you knew that what you were joking about then was inappropriate. And I think it's very important. Again, this is such an instructive part. Senator Bamidele has said that the IPU doesn't have jurisdiction or any right or any power, which is quite fine and all. You're able to respond to the IPU. Senator Bamidele, you're the chairman of the Senate Committee on Code of Conduct and Ethics. When are we going to hear that there is a sitting on the matter? Because I think someone said again that they don't have a petition, but she submitted another petition. Are we really going to go to this issue of, okay, maybe the petition is wrong again? Stop delaying.
Honestly,
face
to another story.
We can.
Because we're going to talk about this, and before this got here, if you had watched Jasiri constantly, you will know that we are like, we've seen the end from the beginning, both on the Miranda case and this Senator Natasha. We have spoken. I doubt if she can ever come out of this unscathed. So moving on. Anyway, I actually want to make an inappropriate joke as we get to the next story. But the way Tolu is looking at me, let me just hold myself. Please. Nigeria is bad enough.
Please, hold the joke.
Nigeria's House of Representatives have spoken. No more access to the blue screen live. Lawmakers are demanding a nationwide shutdown of pornographic websites, pushing the Nigerian Communication Commission to pull the plug on adult content. But it is a bold move to protect society, or just another attempt at digital censorship. Will it even work in the age of VPNs and alternative platforms? That's a question, a big one. The lawmakers say that this move is aimed at curbing the rising influence of obscene materials online. Dahatu Shehu Taufiki, representative for Skari, Kankara, Sabua constituency, Katsina State, moved the motion to block websites hosting pornography and to sanction defrauding internet service providers in Nigeria. He cited that pornography is vastly becoming a global issue. Tafoki expressed concern over the increasing accessibility of explicit material online, which he believes undermines Nigeria's cultural and religious values. He noted that Nigeria is a highly religious country where major faiths prohibit nudity and obscenity.
Now, the representative also insisted that the action is necessary because pornography causes deception in marriage and promotes obscenity and prostitution. that can result in dangerous and promiscuous behaviors. Furthermore, he moved another motion to urge Nigeria's Communication Commission, NCC, to direct the internet service providers to immediately shut down sites that encourage and host pornographic content.
I rise to move a motion for the need to block internet website hosting pornographic content and sanction defaulting internet service providers. Some of the immediate effects of viewing pornographic contents include A. Causing deception in marriage and which may later on affect family life. B. Promoting adultery, prostitution, and many oral expectations that can result in dangerous, promiscuous behavior. C. Leading to addiction, escalation, desensitization, and the acting out sexually by one person. D. Change of attitude toward oneself and his family. Resolve 2. 1. Urge the Nigerian Communication Commission, NCC, to direct.
There's more, but because of time. So now, of course, this passed with majority support during a voice vote presided over by Speaker Tajuddin Abbas. Now, consequently, the House resolved to direct the NCC to enforce the ban and ensure compliance among telecommunication providers. The resolution also empowers the NCC to apply penalties under the Nigerian Communications Act and the National Information Technology Development Act against any ISPs that fail to restrict access to pornographic websites. Let's quickly take reactions, and then we go for a break. And then we talk. And then we congratulate Lolo. I can't leave. We can't leave without a Lolo story today.
Oh, my.
All right, we have many problems dealing with Nigeria, but this is what they take serious. Hike in tariff and data, they don't see anything to do for that one. Anyway, you can shut it down. Never, not in this Nigeria. What else? It is paradoxical that these politicians think that blocking porn sites will build societal values, but stopping their corruption and embezzlement is not a priority. Our lawmakers are always making the headlines for controversial, ridiculous, and misguided decisions. I definitely support this move, even though it sounds petty at this time. We have lots of more grave situations facing us as a nation. I'm in support 100%. I have never been interested in what happens in the National Assembly. I personally lead this protest if them try this. I have decided to maintain my lane all this while, and that's my best entertainment. Don't take this away from me. That's why you're not using your picture. Good move. Please, as a religious country, corruption of any form should be banned, not only porn. Porn is not worse than stealing public funds. Let's take one final one. They will always make laws for the poor with all the problems we have in Nigeria. Ask them to ban married men having girlfriends and side chicks, which is causing way more havoc to the youth. They will start singing a different tune. All right, guys, we'll talk about this very briefly when we come back. And also when we come back, before we wrap up, do we have congratulations in order for Lolo?
Yes, please.
We'll find out. Stay with us. So, ladies, before we get to congratulations to Lolo, so let me say this. I think I've said it before, we need to take action. And I think we have some slides, if we can show the slides on the impact of pornography, addiction. And the House of Representatives member is quite right. It can affect marriages. It gives you a false sense of what sexual relations between a man and a woman should be. And exposure to pornography at a very young age can also affect the brain. It affects the brain. It affects your interpretation of relationships between men and women, and even your sexual expectations. And yes, I think that we also have other more pressing things, but this is why we have lawmakers. We can chew and we can, what is it? What they say? You can chew and we can chew gum and walk. We can do multiple things at the same time. But I get the sentiment from the people who are saying you so want to quickly do this, but corruption is also a vice that's eating deeply into society. What have you done about that?
We are babies in the technological space. This thing, I don't think it will work, to be honest, because in the world of VPN and other options, I don't think you can completely.
As far as I'm concerned, everybody knows I'm pro decency, and I know what pornography can do. And it's not like I'll say, when I went to Dubai some years ago, you can't access porn in Dubai. You cannot. So I don't think it's bad in itself. But in the bigger picture, I like that thing you said. You can chew and walk.
Yeah.
This is just a little thing. Put your mind on bigger things. 2, Make better laws. Make things that really would
ban corruption.
Ban.
No, so
let's just even first ban side chicks.
Exactly. So if there's anything that
corruption
is
a big
more disturbing,
monster.
is this sugar daddy era that we're in? So if you want
please, I beg you,
Abby,
leave Odogu Parara out of everything.
There's some legal Odogu Pararas available.
Please. There's so many things that we can actually legislate on.
Yeah.
That is really of weighty, that has bigger proportions. Even though I consider this weighty, but we have to tread cautiously, because if it's about banning pornographic everything, TikTok will go.
No, see, I was getting there.
TikTok must go.
Twitter will go.
So
will they go, or will there be consequences? Because in and of themselves, the apps are not pornographic apps. Unfortunately,
but people post on it pornographic
are happening there. I remember Lolo, you were complaining about a few weeks ago. One day I just opened TikTok. I just joined late last year, and the first thing I'm seeing is breast and bum in my face on TikTok. And I'm like, what is going on? What did I subscribe to OnlyFans? Do you know? And so there's an issue there when we look at how this will work, how this will actually happen. And it's not just as simple as saying tell the NCC to do it. I did some quick work right now. 1 or 2 sites, the sites are still up. So how does this translate or transfer from the House of Reps to then an actionable situation down the line and getting consequences as well? You have to speak to the ISPs. Okay, you speak to ISPs. What do you want to do about VPN? You can't ban VPN.
So this is where
and then AI. There's already AI pornography. What are we talking about?
This is the phase where we'll come and say, oh, because of moral this, moral that, but we have not really thought how it's going to work. That's why I do not. I take it with a pinch of salt. In fact, the disappearance of salt, because I don't think that you can actually implement what you're saying. It takes a lot.
Because I know a lot of there are still a lot. There are still a lot of people within some bracket that really need it to make life easy.
No,
because
but the consequences
and
of
their medical conditions.
It's okay. Stop, please. Okay. All right, so we have to move on very quickly. Well, we don't know if it's congratulations that we should be saying to Lolo.
I dressed purposely.
Apparently, she dressed up for a coma because Lolo apparently secretly welcomed twins.
In USA. I didn't have in UK because they won't give my children.
If you don't know what we're talking about, please show them what we're talking about. Lolo, you didn't tell us.
No, I had to hide something.
You didn't tell us.
Joy is full.
My joy is full. I just woke up today and a friend actually sent me a picture where they had mixed my picture with one of my daughters, my social media daughters, who had twins last week, and yesterday
you went to visit her
was
this
her
week.
name, and I put it expressly, put her name, put the picture, congratulated her, and I even called myself grandma.
They say you
only for me to say that I welcomed twins in the US.
Is the number of comments congratulating Lolo?
People love
there
me.
are some there who say, which Lolo? Fake bug and everything. But there's so many comments that are actually congratulating her. And it scared me. Because when you look at it, you've always talked about the fact that you're one of the people who supports some kind of social media restriction or regulation. And that's exactly what I don't understand why we
imagine if it was something negative. Maybe my uncle is a senator and we actually met in maybe one hotel in Lagos. Maybe he held me. You know your uncle can play for me. Say Lolo seen in the embrace of Senator Kini.
And it will surprise you that you won't leave this down, because after 10 years, how are the twins?
How are the twins?
Which twins?
And not even this season that I need more. Anybody that wants to bless the twins, please bless them. You can still bless them.
We're going. So a lot of conversations, only unfortunately we're able to get to 2 of them. That's what happens, because there's a lot happening in this Nigeria and a lot happening in the world as well. But I want to say a very big thank you for joining us across this week, Monday through Friday at 10 a.m. For being part of Jasiri and all the conversations we're having. And again, welcome. It's not too late for us to welcome our GoTV family. We're seeing you in the comments on our social media posts, and we're saying welcome and thank you so much for being with us. So don't forget, make it a date. We'll be here for you Monday at 10 a.m. Next week, we're talking about sexual harassment. We're talking about pornography. We're going to have a psychologist in the studio to talk to us and break down the issues around pornographic content and why the House of Reps might just be on to something. But until then, have a fantastic weekend. We'll see you later. Bye.